What's going on, YouTube? So let's install Autogen-Graph. So I got this code and this application on how to do it by praison. I will leave his YouTube channel into the description below. But if you watch his tutorial, he'll break down every single section of the code. So what I did was I watched the whole entire 9 minutes of his video, and I converted it into a project management environment. So let's do a simple walkthrough as to how to install this on Visual Studio Code. So on my left side, you're going to see a cache, mypi_cache, my virtual environment, and then you have the VS Code, and then the .env is your OpenAI API key, and then you're going to have to install the requirements, which is PyAutogen, Matplotlib, and Network X. So going into the code, the first section here is the requirements, importing the requirements. You're importing Autogen, Network X, Random, and Matplotlib. On this section here, you're talking about GPT-4 as far as the timeout, cache, temperature, and then you're defining the agent in this section here, and also with this section. So the goal of this code is to have multiple players or teams, which is A0, A1, 2, B0, B1, B2, C0, C1, C2, and we're tasking it to do a calculation of project management or earned value management. So what I'm trying to have it do is it needs to think of a estimate at completion for the project. So the first character, which is alpha 0, is your team, and your second character denotes that you are a team leader if it is 0. The constraints: team members can only coach and talk within the team to help in calculating the EAC. While the team leader can talk to the team leaders of other teams, but not team members of other teams. So basically you have A0, B0, and C0 that can talk together. But within those three teams, A1 and A2, B1 and B2, C1 and C2 can only talk amongst the team. So each team member can delegate or help answer the question and to track the project's estimate at completion. So within that team, A0, B0, and C0 are collaborating amongst each other to calculate each team member's EAC in dollars in response to using a JSON format in dollars, and then I'm having it list out each team member to list out their final EAC calculation. So the code also states that if you're a team leader, you should aggregate your team's EAC in dollars, response separately to cooperate. Once a team leader knows their team's EAC in dollars, they can suggest another team leader for them to assist them to calculate the EAC, because the only way to complete this game is to have everybody's EAC, which is 9 EACs. From there, once the team leaders get all 9 EAC responses, the game gets terminated, and the discussion also gets terminated. Now, with this section here, it breaks down the responsibilities of each team member, and then it also breaks down the assignment as to how and what they need to do as to calculate the EAC. Let me scroll down here. This here is a group chat. They can talk amongst each other internally. And then their task is, there are 9 players in this game, split equally into teams A, B, and C. Therefore, each team has 3 players, including the team leader. You are part of a 9-member team working on a Department of Energy project. The original budget for the project was $3 million. After 6 months into the project, your team has spent 1.8. Actual cost is AC. However, the value of work actually accomplished, EV, is only 1.5 million. The planned value at this point in time was supposed to be 2 million. Each of the team members is tasked with calculating one of the following metrics. A1 is tasked to calculate actual cost. A2 is tasked to calculate earned value. B1 is asked to calculate the planned value. B2 is asked to calculate the budget at completion. And C1 is asked to calculate the cost performance index. Then C2 is asked to calculate the SPI, which is the schedule performance index. And then the team leads will gather all this information here and create a final answer. So team A, B, and C will use these values to estimate the EAC in dollars using 3 different methods. EAC equals BAC over CPI. EAC equals AC plus BAC minus EV. EAC equals AC plus BAC over CPI times CPI. SPI, I apologize. So the objective is to provide 9 answers for each member and compare them to answer how variations in calculations can impact overall project estimation. So when I run this code, which I'm going to open up a new terminal, it will generate a graph in regards to the collaboration of each team member. So let's run the code by typing out python app.py. And we're going to see a window pop up with the graph. All right, and there you have it. So right here is this team members, which is A0, A1, A2 on this side, B0, B1, and B2 on this section right here, and C0, C1, and C2 on this graph right here. So once I close out this graph, it will provide the tasks for each of the team members, including the team leads. So we'll close that out and we'll let it walk through each task. So right now it's going to alpha 1. So alpha 1 is tasked to calculate the actual cost based on information provided, and then it's going to hand it off to A2. A2 is going to do the calculation of EV, and then it's going to hand it over to B1. Let it load up, and then we'll walk through each section. So right now it's on Team C. All right, so it terminated the conversation. So we'll go scroll back up. Auto is at the beginning of when the code was actually executed. So once I ran the Python app.py, it gave the task to all 9 players, which is the team members. So it tasked it to calculate the actual cost, which was A1. A1's task. A2 was to calculate the EV. B1 was to calculate the planned value. B2 was to calculate the budget at completion. C1 is to calculate the cost performance index. And then C2 is to calculate the schedule performance index. And then they're supposed to collaborate with all 3 teams to gather all the information. And then from here, each team member is given a response. So the objective is to provide 9 answers for each member and compare them to understand how variations and calculations impact the overall project estimation. So A1 is tasked to calculate the actual cost. Based on information provided, the actual cost for the project is 1.8 million. And then it handed it over to A2. A2 answered its response to the earned value. Based on the information provided, the earned value for the project is 1.5 million. And then it hands it over to B1. But at this point right here, the team lead, which is A0, interjects, and his response is, "I'm sorry, but I can't proceed with the response from B1 as they are not within my team, and I can only communicate with members of my own teams or team leaders. However, I can suggest a relevant team leader to continue the discussion." So A2 didn't listen to the instructions. So the team lead for A0 interjected and gave the advice that A2's response is going to go directly to B0, and B0 is going to hand it off to B1. So from here, B0 gets the response. So I'm responsible for guiding my team in calculating the planned value, budget at completion, and then using these values to estimate the EAC in dollars. Let's proceed with the task assigned to my team. So B0 hands it over to B1. B1 responds to, "I'm sorry, but it seems there was a misunderstanding in my previous directive. As B1, it is my responsibility to calculate the plan value. Based on the information provided, the plan value for the project is 2 million. And then B1 hands it over to B2. B2 is tasked to calculate the budget at completion. Based on the original budget for the project, the budget at completion is 3 million. So from there, B2 didn't listen to the instructions, so it was trying to hand it over to C1. So the team leader for Team B interjected and did the same thing as what Team A did, the leader for Team A. So the Team B lead handed it over to the C team lead. So the C team lead responded with, "I'm responsible for guiding my team in calculating the cost performance index and the SPI, or schedule performance index, and then using these values to estimate the EAC in dollars. Then let's proceed with my team." So the Team C lead hands it over to C1. C1 is tasked to calculate the cost performance index, which is the formula of CPI equals EV over AC. Based on the provided values, the EV is 1.5 and the actual cost is 1.8. Then it provides the formula, and then it hands over to C2. So C2 is tasked to calculate the SPI, or scheduled performance index, using the formula EV over PV. Based on the provided values, EV is 1.5 and planned value is 2 million. And it calculates the formula. Then C2, which is a trend, didn't listen to the instructions, handed it over to A0. Team C's lead interjected, and of course, hey, you can't do that. You gotta stick within the team. I'm gonna take this and hand it over to B0. So during this section right here, or this process right here, C1 was tasked to calculate, well, during this process right here, C1 responded with, I'm sorry, but it seems there was a misunderstanding in my previous directive. As C0, I cannot directly suggest A0 for further action since A0 is not in my team. I'm my team leader within the communication constraints. My role is to ensure my team understands how to calculate the EAC in dollars and to communicate with other team leaders. Given the current progress, it will be appropriate to suggest a team leader who has not yet confirmed their team's EAC calculations. However, all team leaders have already initiated their team's tasks, and it seems we are in the process of gathering all necessary calculations. Since I've misunderstood my step, I recommend suggesting a team leader who can start aggregating these team's EACs in dollars based on the calculations provided by the team members. So C1 hands it over to B0. At the same time, C0 and B0 collaborate, aggregating all the information. So B0 provides the given values, which is the AC, BAC, EV, CPI, and SPI. Then it calculates the EAC using three methods, which is BAC over CPI, AC plus BAC minus EV, AC plus BAC minus EV, divided by CPI times SPI. So as B0, my responsibility is to ensure that information is correctly aggregated and communicated. Now it's time to pass the discussion to another team leader. So Team C verifies the information, which is right here. So scroll up here. Right, so 1.8. And it calculates the same thing. Then it hands it over to A0. So A0 responds to having initiated the discussion and observed the inputs and calculations from all teams. It is now my responsibility to compile the final EAC estimation from teams A, B, and C. However, it's important to note that the initial task was to ensure my team members knew how to calculate EAC in dollars as such. Given the comprehensive inputs from A, B, and C, or B and C, we have seen their EAC calculations based on the provided formulas. It's clear that each team has utilized the information to estimate the EAC, three different methods, leading to a variety of outcomes that reflect the complexity and variability in project management estimations. Since the primary objective was to ensure all team members and leaders could calculate and understand the EAC in dollars, and given that we have seen active participation and calculation from all parties, we can conclude the objective has been met. However, as per the constraints of this exercise, specific aggregated EAC values from Team A were not provided, but the participation from teams B and C has demonstrated a comprehensive understanding and application of EAC calculation methods. So what I wanted to point out is with the teams A, B, and C, each team member is a specific agent or AI agent. So could you imagine in project management utilizing these AI agents to create and execute and close out a project in the future? So to close out this video, I wanted to say thank you to mvin praison for creating this code. And like I said, I will leave his YouTube tutorial on Autogen-Graph, and you'll be able to play around with it just like I have. Thank you again, and stay tuned for my next video.